This will be a tough one today. Let's do it. Let's talk about depression and video games, shall we? Let's start here. Yes, first and foremost, I am a licensed therapist, but this video does not constitute therapy. It's not the way it works. Sorry. But I do hope there's a couple of helpful things that I can give you during this video, tips that you can take with you, things that may help you rethink depression and mental health in general in a very different way. So let's begin by looking at what games actually give us when we're hurting. I used to, and honestly still do sometimes, run to games when I'm feeling depressed. For me and many others, games can be a great place to do a lot of deep thinking and processing. Again, depression's a really complex thing here. It's something every medical practitioner I've ever talked to never completely and perfectly encapsulates it, though it's generally first and foremost considered a medical diagnosis, which is true. For our purposes in this video, though, I want to say the following on depression. We'll consider depression as more than just sadness. It's more like a flattening of your emotional world. The things you once loved stop mattering, and the world turns to black and white. Executive functioning falls apart. The body feels heavy and numb. The future feels distant and inconsequential. And the question of why get out of bed no longer has an obvious answer. In therapeutic settings, I often describe more intense experiences of depression almost like a loss of one of your senses. It's like the loss of the use of your spirit, the loss of the ability to make meaning in any significant way. Almost like a feedback disorder. You can no longer receive feedback from the outside or inside world. Now let's look at video games here, especially when depression makes the broader world feel cruel or meaningless. Video games offer things that we're desperate for. Control. In real life, everything feels unpredictable. Games give us rules and goals and feedback in ways that actually make sense. Progress. When brushing your teeth feels impossible, finishing a quest can feel like an actual achievement. Number 3, predictability. NPCs don't cancel plans. The game won't ever ghost you. You know how it works, and it will always be there for you. 4, non-judgment. You can be in your pajamas at 3 p.m. while you play a video game. You can fail a level 20 times, and the game is still here and has not given up on you. Immersion. When your own thoughts hurt, being someone else in another world can feel like an act of mercy. In that context, of course we play games when we're depressed. It's not laziness. For those that are battling depression, it's first and foremost pain management. Hey, so this topic is so big, I think I'm gonna have to turn this into an ongoing series. If this is relevant to you or someone that you love, do me a favor and subscribe. I wouldn't want you or your loved ones to miss something that could offer some type of relief in a world that often hides relief behind obscene paywalls. Thanks for watching, and back to the video. So here's where things get complicated. Because games can offer comfort and connection, it can also mutate into something else. Especially when we start to rely on it instead of engaging with the world and our emotions and our needs. We can use games as a crutch, but it can also get in the way. It's hard to quantify this, especially through this particular medium here. Sorry about that. Like, we have limits through video making, but here's some signs that gaming might be feeding the depression instead of soothing or helping you process or helping you manage. Number 1, avoidance becomes a default. You're not just avoiding your social life, you're avoiding everything. Basic hygiene, meals, sunlight, sleep. If games are all you've known over a long period of time, you may need to start reconsidering. 2, sleep disruption. You keep gaming so you don't go to bed. You fear sleep, and games keep the sleep away. 3, guilt or shame. You continually feel worse after playing. You hate how long you've been playing, and you hate the fact that you can't stop. 4, loss of joy. You're still gaming, but it hasn't felt good in quite some time. In fact, you haven't felt anything in quite some time. It's just the thing you do now. Let me make this clear. It's not that gaming causes depression. If someone says that to you, they're an idiot and don't listen. But it can become part of a disruptive loop. First you're depressed, and then you go to games to escape, and then you isolate, and then responsibilities pile up, and then you feel worse, and then you go to game some more, and you see how the cycle begins to loop. It's also really important to note that if you are caught in that loop, this isn't a failure. It can feel like a failure. It's just a survival strategy that's outlived its usefulness. And if that sounds familiar, if any of this sounds familiar, I want to remind you, you're not broken, you haven't screwed up, and you haven't failed, even though it feels that way. You're just coping the only way you know how. And that's okay. And you can take this opportunity to begin to work towards change. As usual, let's ironically go to video games for some of this talking, right? It's kind of weird, but yeah, let's do it. Some games don't just distract us from depression, they name it with us. They reflect it. And in doing so, they remind us we're not alone. And they can be a legitimate first step. Just to name a quick few. Celeste, climbing a mountain while battling your own anxiety, depression, and inner critic. The mountain's not the problem. You are, and you aren't. Night in the Woods. A college dropout returns home, aimless and dissociative. Gosh, does that all feel very familiar to me. She's hiding her depression behind jokes and humor and quirkiness. Still feels familiar. Amori, though, hey, some trigger warnings on this one. Be very careful if you choose to play. This is a game about hiding from trauma in our own dissociative dream worlds, in a dissociative-like state. It's beautiful, it's haunting, and it's ultimately a plea to wake up. And 4, a more unique touch on the world of depression, Spiritfarer. I'll be talking about this game more in the future. I've just been getting into it. I know it was kind of an indie hit a few years ago, but I'll dive into it more. It's a really great meditation on grief and death and letting go. I find generally depression almost always touches on grief in some way, shape, or form. Depression very rarely comes alone or comes unattached. Grieving something, maybe the past, maybe something we couldn't be, something we don't feel like we could do, something or someone we couldn't please, that can be welded onto our experiences of depression. Spiritfarer is really great for this. It teaches us to let go through slow, gentle nourishment. I've got a video on some of this, if you're interested, on self-forgiveness that is related to this portion. Hopefully I learned how to make the thing, boop, click on the video and it'll pop up. Just a reminder, these games don't fix anything, but they do offer language, metaphor, emotional resonance. They say, hey, we're all human. We've been here too. We can't stop there, though. We can't stop at games, unfortunately. We can't be healed of our depression just by playing depression-friendly games. Otherwise, doctors would be prescribing Stardew Valley like it was Vicodin in the 90s. You have to go further. I don't know your situation, so I'm really hesitant to tell you exactly where to start. I think that's really personal and really complex and something that should be saved for the therapy office, truthfully. But I can tell you this, hands down, depression treatment is most effective when medication and therapy are combined, when they're co-occurrent. I will tell you, therapy is never a bad idea, especially if you're depressed. I'll be listing some resources down in the description if you are interested. I'm going to do my best to make a lot of these either low cost or free. I will tell you right now, personal opinion, I do find that hey, those can be really good resources in certain contexts. In other contexts, you may want to find a independent personal therapist who can really get to know you. That's a future video. So sorry about that. But it's important that you make some steps today if this is you or somebody that you know, right? Just a reminder, my comment section is not a therapy office. Please do not go down there asking for help. I'll say, that sounds really tough. You should check those resources I put in the bottom. Okay, let's get back to the core of the video real fast. I want to remind you that gaming is not the enemy here. I know you might hate it sometimes, but it's not necessarily the enemy. But if you're still trying to figure out if you've got a good relationship to gaming while you're facing some type of depression or sadness, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Does playing help me feel connected or numb? If it makes you feel numb, in a bad type of numb, I might encourage you to take a break. Do I stop because I want to or because I feel forced to? If you're feeling forced, that might be a red flag. You should really consider that. Number 3, do I generally feel better after playing? If the answer is no, you may want to take some time to reassess your relationship to gaming. Number 4, am I playing to soothe myself better or consider something in my life? Or am I playing to avoid something important, something I should be looking at? If you're avoiding, I'm going to encourage you to do some reflection. Finally, is this replacing my real needs? By real needs, I mean like food and movement and rest and connection. If the answer is yes, it's worth taking a break. It gets complex because a lot of our social lives are deeply entangled with gaming and being online with friends. I think that's a very blurred line, but I still think a lot of those questions can apply. I do also want to note that this isn't about guilt, though feelings of guilt might arise. That's okay. I remind you that you're not your feelings of guilt. You have them, you are not them. This is more so about awareness or mindfulness. The same game that helps you regulate your emotions one week can become a way to avoid them the next. That's usually the way it works for me in these types of situations. I just want to remind you that's okay. You're allowed to change how you use your tools and what tools you use. In fact, you're supposed to in order to grow. If you're watching this and thinking, yep, that's me. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Let's start with the gentle truth. I want to first remind you that you're not weak and you're not lazy and you're not alone, though I know you feel like all of those things. Others have been here before you. Others are here with you right now. It's good to try to find some people who are depressed too, and maybe find some people who aren't depressed as well. Connect. Sometimes we play games because they're the only things that don't hurt. But eventually, we need more than just survival. We need healing. And healing often starts with kindness, compassion, and curiosity. A quick tag, I guess I want to put at the end here. When we're depressed, we often want the same types of things. We want like relief from pain, from pressure. We want a sense of purpose. We want connection without judgment. A little beauty, a little hope. Games can give us all that, but only for a while. Eventually, we have to ask, can I start to bring some of these things into my life in other ways? Not all at once, not perfectly, but maybe today we turn off the console a little earlier, or computer. Maybe we reach out to someone that we really trust. Maybe we try to name what's really going on. I find that just giving a name to what I'm experiencing is one of the most powerful and valuable things that I can do. I encourage you to do that for yourself. Thank you for watching. Remember, you or someone you love is currently battling depression, statistically speaking. If that's not you and you're watching this video, I think one thing I want to give to you is I don't want you to feel responsible to save every single person you come into contact with that has depression or is experiencing depression. That's not your responsibility, which I know is hard. We want to be our friend. We want to be helpful. We want to encourage and move in positive directions with people. But you have a life to live. You are not a mind reader. It takes two sides. And finally, you are not a professional. That's maybe the best and most freeing thing I can give you. You're not a professional. Please do not try to save any friend that is depressed and like try to be their personal therapist or medical doctor. That is not you, and that is also not your responsibility. The same way I wouldn't ask you to go put out a fire if you're not a firefighter. With that said, just a little piece of advice that can be really helpful if someone you know comes forward about depression. This is exactly what I would do. This is my picture perfect formula for you. Someone comes forward, I want you to sit. I want you to listen. I want you to feel. I want you to express your sorrow about their sadness, their depression. I want you to ask what they might want or need in that situation, or how they think you can best help them. They may not have an answer to that, and that's okay. You can't fix them, you shouldn't fix them, but you can connect with them. I don't have much more to add. The only thing I'm going to give you here at the end is just a reminder to subscribe. Most of my videos aren't quite this heavy and intense, so sorry about that. If you're expecting a lot more humor today, my apologies. I really just wanted to talk a bit about depression. Have a resource out there for people that is hopefully meaningful and helpful. I find a lot of bad rhetoric about depression. So thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. Care about yourselves. I'm out.